The Senate, to be specific over there, has passed and approved the government's 2018 to 2020 spending framework. Now, they did raise the oil price assumption to $47 a barrel from $45. Aside from changing that particular number, Parliament pretty much kept other details in the document exactly as they were. The framework had been earlier approved by both the Senate and the House of Representatives. Nigeria is Africa's largest single oil producer, most of the time, except when, of course, it's second behind Angola. Crude sales make up 2/3 of government revenue there. The budget projects crude output of about 2.3 million barrels of crude per day for the next year. It also forecasts GDP growth of 3.5% in 2018, 4.5% in 2019, and then 7% in 2020. So then, let's get you some reactions to this. Deji Badmus has been covering this story for us. He joins us now live from Lagos. So, Deji, senators working with this average price of $47 a barrel. Walk us through the assumptions that went into that price and how confident senators are in that assumption.
Well, Rama, what I can tell you is that the lawmakers decided to settle for that price after speaking with the general manager in charge of planning and strategy at the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. And of course, he told the lawmakers that in arriving at the figure that was presented to the president, that the NNPC actually looked at three scenarios. I mean, they looked at $35 per barrel, $45 per barrel, and then $55 per barrel. And that, you know, after considering all that they did their research and everything, they just came to the conclusion that it was going to be 45. That the price would not come down below $45 per barrel. So that is the reason why the senators have decided to settle for 47. So the calculation is that the price of oil will not go down below at least $45 per barrel. So that's the reason why they've settled for that.
All right. One other key thing that stood out, though, was that assumption on oil output, over 2.2 million barrels of crude a day. But if you look at the numbers, Deji, 2016 output 1.56 million barrels a day on average. So far this year, first quarter to third quarter, 1.63 million barrels of crude a day. How are they going to get the remaining 500,000 barrels of crude of output?
Well, that's a good question. As a matter of fact, the same issue came up when that NNPC general manager appeared before the lawmakers, and he did quite say that Nigeria has the capacity to do beyond 2.3 million barrels per day. He says the only reason why Nigeria has not been able to do up to that amount of level is because of the crisis in the Niger Delta region and then vandalism of pipelines. But now that there is peace in the Niger Delta and the peace is holding, the calculation is that Nigeria would be able to do even more than the 2.3 million barrels per day. So this is coming from the NNPC. They are the ones in charge. So the senators are basically following the advice of the NNPC. The NNPC says, well, the country has the capacity to do beyond 2.3 million barrels per day. So the senators are sticking with that, and they're going with that. I mean, the same advice the president, of course, got from the NNPC is the same, of course, advice that the senators have received from the NNPC as well. So it's quite a surprise, no doubt, as you've said. 1.8 million barrel on the average, that's what we've done over a period of time. But this man who appeared before the senators said, look, this country, if the peace in the Niger Delta is able to hold, can do 2.3 million barrels per day. So we just wait and see and hope that the peace in that part of the country continues to hold, Rama.
Right then. So that brings me really to the million-dollar question here, really. If that 2.2 million barrel number is hinged on peace in the Niger Delta, where is that guarantee going to come from? How are they going to ensure that the Niger Delta, as restive as it has been in the last couple of years, will actually be quiet, calm, at least for the next year?
Well, as you said, that's a $1 million question. Well, so far, so good. The peace has been holding, even though some time ago, not quite long ago, as a matter of fact, the Niger Delta Avengers threatened to resume attack on oil facilities. Of course, they didn't go ahead with that threat. They've been spoken to. The government has provided enough in next year's budget now for the development of the Niger Delta. And we also know that the amnesty program is continuing. So the expectation is that the peace there will continue to hold. And then talks are also going on. So I don't want to believe the government doesn't know what it's doing, but then, look, this thing is not cast in stone. Anything can just go wrong, and we're back to, like, if you like, ground zero, and, you know, we're back to square one. But, of course, I don't think the government will want that kind of thing to happen. So we just continue to wait and hope that things will continue to remain peaceful in that region. Rama?
Indeed, although hope isn't much of a strategy there. One last question for you, Deji. The dollar-naira rate, you saw that ease a little bit on Monday to 307 naira to the dollar. Was that an intentional weakening of the currency by the CBN?
Exactly, Rama. That's what we've been told. That what the CBN is trying to do is it's aiming to achieve convergence. You know, as we speak today, the market rate, I'm talking about the parallel market rate now, it's somewhere around 360 to the dollar. Everybody knows that the official rate is actually not attainable, if you like. And so what we understand is that what the CBN is trying to do is to gradually work towards a convergence, and that's the reason it's done this, that it's intentional, and that we might see a further weakening in the coming weeks or months. We do not know, but that this is intentional, and it's all geared towards the convergence of rate. Of course, you know, in Nigeria, there are quite a number of rates, about 5 or 6 of them, and we all know that that is actually not a good thing. And so the CBN, I should say, is trying to eliminate that, and then, you know, basically have one rate for basically everybody.
Indeed. We'll leave it there for the time being. Deji was in Lagos. Thank you very much for your input. Appreciate it.